Let's take a look at what's going on with Dogecoin today, guys. All right, so we hit in my last video, I had a target of .248 and we hit that target. The next target that I'm looking at is .339, the next Fibonacci retracement level. Someone said to make my videos more concise. Well, there you go. That's basically what the point of the video is. I hit my target and now we're looking at .339. I feel like we're still going up. Now, for everyone who wants to stick around, here's what I'm looking at. So we had the Fibonacci retracement because we had this big, huge run last year. And then we started having trouble right here. Ever since then, I got the Fibonacci retracement tool, drug from the bottom to the top. That gives us these levels that I'm watching, these Fibonacci retracement levels. Let me delete this real quick. So like I said, we had this big, huge run, and then we started to come down. I've been dollar cost averaging on these levels, and I talked about it on last video, that they act as support and they act as resistance. Came down, got support, boom, came up, found resistance on these ones. Whoops, let me delete this, sorry. So we found resistance. Basically, they act as support and resistance. Support, resistance, boom. Got, that one keeps on coming back. We got resistance on these ones and got pushed to the downside. Boom. Got support on this one, held support and pushed up. So I use them to trade off of. And when we break them, when we break them going down, I look at the next one going down. When we break them going up, I look at the next one going up. So right here, we broke through this one. Came up to the next one, sitting at the 61% level, sitting at around .248. Found some resistance right there. Sold somewhere down here, I think, and then put up a limit order back at the next one going to the downside. This next yellow line going down, sitting at .185. So that was like pretty much the last, the video before last, I think that was like the thing. We came up and I sold up here, and then I put a limit order down here. So in my last video, we were also talking about how if we break through that, since we broke through that .185 level, the next spot that I'm looking at is .248. We came through. I was also looking at this resistance over here. We broke through that resistance and pushed to the upside. I'm on the daily time frame. Let's switch over the 4-hour time frame real quick, and we can look at some of these lines we had. We had resistance. We had resistance, giving me this trend line right here. We broke through that, and ever since then, we've been pushing to the upside on the way to the target. We hit the target the other day, I think it was like a day or two ago, and we started having trouble right at that area. Came up, hit the target, came down, came up, had trouble with that without 182.48 level, came down, found some support, and pushed back up. Finally, we got a clear break when we broke this line. Okay, so we had resistance. I didn't have that line drawn, but we could do that real quick. We had a line something like this. Once we broke through that, then we got a nice pump to the upside. It looks like we're on our way to the next Fibonacci retracement level, sitting at .294. But I also talked about in last video, let's go ahead and delete some of these lines real quick. I also talked about a W pattern that I was looking at on the daily time frame, and that's what the thumbnail on the last video was. Let's go ahead and delete that. Let's do something like this, because this W pattern gives us a target of around .339. Let's go back to the daily time frame. And okay, so we came down right here, found support, came up, found resistance, came down, found support, came up, we kind of found resistance, but we broke through there. I was saying if we can break through this level, then we could drag from the top to the bottom of that W pattern, something like this. A W pattern is a reversal pattern. We were heading down, boom, and then we got that W pattern. Like I said, it's a reversal pattern. It's also a double bottom, something like that. You can go ahead and look it up on Google. And yeah, so basically we drag from the bottom and the top of that W, drag that to the breakout, which was right here. Basically, we had this resistance right here, this resistance right here. We use that line as the top pretty much of that W, or in general, just like the middle of the W. If we could break that horizontal level on a W pattern, then we could drag from the top to the bottom, like I said, drag this to the breakout, something like that, and then that gives us a target of around 0.348. Lines up pretty good with that next Fibonacci retracement level sitting at 0.339. So this is the line that I'm looking at next. Like I said, if we break through one of the Fibonacci retracement levels, the next one I'm looking at is usually the next Fibonacci retracement level, but which would be at 0.294. But since we broke out of this W pattern, boom, then I do think that we are reversing and we are going to 0.339. That's just my opinion. The other thing that looks pretty good is, like I said, we have this W pattern. Look at the volume that's coming in right now. We got some pretty nice, we have some pretty good, nice volume, green volume ever since we like this big, huge run back here. So we had these big, huge green volumes. We had declining volume all since then, and then we started getting. The last couple days have been getting some nice green volume on Dogecoin. So that's what's taking us up. And like I said, ever since we broke this resistance right here, I'm looking at 0.339. Let's see if we can continue this momentum and go to 0.339 and complete this W pattern. The other thing though is, I'm also looking at resistance right here, resistance right here. Let's go ahead and draw another trend line from this top to that top, something like that. We also broke that trend line right here. So maybe we can start even going to, like, we could maybe even go higher than 0.339. We'll have to wait and see. I wouldn't be surprised if we came up to 0.339, people started taking profits, and then we started bouncing in between these Fibonacci retracement levels again. Like we could get some trouble over here. People start taking profits and then come back down to 0.248. Remember that once we break resistance, then when we come back down to test it, it could act as support. Resistance can flip into support, basically. So we had resistance right here, resistance right here, resistance. Again, not perfect. I'm drawing kind of messed up, but basically we have this line of resistance. Now that we've broken it, it could act as support if we come back down and try to test it. So we could be bouncing on something like that. And like I was telling you earlier, these Fibonacci retracement levels are lines that it bounces in between. That's why I like looking at them. That's also why I like being in a retracement, this little box right here that we have, because it's a little more predictable. Once we break out of this box, then it's kind of hard to tell where we're going to be going next. But in the meantime, while we're in this box, we could use these levels to buy and sell on. So yeah, we'll have to see. The other thing I would do is watch the trends. So we have support right here, support right here. Let's go ahead and draw a line, something like this, basically drawing that trend. Let's go ahead and delete this one. Let's go ahead and delete a lot of these lines right now. So we kind of know where that we're looking at. 0.339 is my next target, basically. But as far as trends go, we draw these lines. When we're going up, we're looking at the bottoms. We're looking at the bottom, whatever, something like that. Actually, just basically these two lines, these 2 points that give us this line right here. And as long as we're bouncing on that line, then 339 is still possible. If we break this trend line going to the downside, then we start looking at the next one. So we had a bottom right here, bottom right here, bottom right here. If we start breaking this trend line, maybe it'll bounce something like that. The other thing, like I was saying, also, now that we've broken that resistance, maybe it'll act as support if we come back down and test it. We're watching the Fibonacci retracement levels. So if we come up, we start having trouble on 0.294, we might come back down to 0.248 and then bounce on that, something like that. Sometimes it does something like this. I do think we're going to go like this. Maybe we'll come back down, test 0.294 and then bounce up, or, I mean, you never know. But these are lines that I watch for support and resistance. I do think the next one is 0.339 though. Yeah, so that's basically it. We're getting good volume. I talked about that on last video, that I wanted to see the volume come in. It looks like we are getting some pretty decent volume right now. Yeah, I've been kind of waiting for it to break through that 248 level to make another video. I don't know. I might start doing just like weekly videos. If I can find more time, then I'll start doing daily videos, but I'm quite not sure. I'm not quite sure. For now, maybe I can do the weekly videos at least. But yeah, I was looking at my app on my phone, and I was like, oh, we're breaking through, or like we're at 27 cents. I was like, okay, I should probably make another video. And I was thinking about making a video once we hit that .248 target, but I just haven't. So next target .339. Let's see if we can get up there. First target hit so far though. Let's see if we could hit the second target from my last video. If you want to check out what I was talking about in my last video and see if I was, you know what I mean, if you want to check out the last video where I was talking about both of these targets, check it out right here. If you're new to trading or looking at charts in general, looking at TradingView, check out this playlist right here. I'll help get you started. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one.